You'd think catching a few bass on a quiet Sunday morning would be harmless, peaceful even, therapeutic, some might say, but not in Willow Ridge Estates where the HOA patrols like they're guarding the Pentagon. My name's Jake Palmer. I'm a 36-year-old software developer who moved to Willow Ridge after cashing out of a startup. All I wanted was a calm place to work remotely, fish in the mornings, grill in the evenings, and maybe kayak with my dog Roscoe. I'd bought a tidy little house at the edge of a man-made lake, Willow Lake, they called it, with picturesque walking trails, ducks, and benches sponsored by local dentists. The listing had proudly advertised lake access, and the day I moved in, I strolled down to the water with a pole and cooler, ready to relax. That's when the trouble began. I'd been fishing maybe 20 minutes, hadn't even cracked open my second beer, when a woman in a lime green golf cart zipped over like a wasp. Her name tag read, Cynthia, HOA Compliance Chair. "No fishing," she snapped, holding up a laminated rule sheet like it was scripture. "You're violating Section 12B of the Willow Ridge Covenant." I blinked. "I live here. I'm just fishing from the shore." "It's prohibited. You'll be fined $50. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. 2 days later, the fine showed up in my mailbox, printed in Comic Sans and stuffed in a bright pink envelope. I appealed. I showed them the real estate flyer that said Lake Access. I even pointed out that the HOA rules had no signage around the lake prohibiting fishing. Cynthia's response: "The rules are clear. Access doesn't mean usage. Fishing disrupts the ecosystem and sets a bad example." That's when I decided to stop asking and start scheming. I did some digging. Turns out the lake wasn't actually owned by the HOA. It had been developed decades ago as part of a failed golf course project. Ownership had defaulted to a private holding company in another state, and the HOA leased the use rights each year. So I made a call. After some negotiation, a wire transfer, and about $145,000 later, I owned Willow Lake. The ink on the title wasn't even dry when I sent an official letter to the HOA. Effective immediately, recreational use of Willow Lake is restricted to the legal property owner and invited guests. This includes walking paths, watercraft, benches, and all water-based activity. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Cynthia nearly drove her golf cart into the duck pond when she read it. The neighborhood erupted. People were furious. Not at me, but at the HOA for letting the lake slip away. Overnight, I went from the fishing guy to a local legend. I put up signs every 50 feet. Private property, no public access, by order of the lake owner. And yes, I kept fishing, every morning. Roscoe and I would sit on the dock with a line in the water and a Bluetooth speaker playing smooth jazz. HOA board members drove by daily, scowling. At one point, Cynthia tried to claim I couldn't restrict the path since it was grandfathered in. My lawyer kindly reminded her that unless the HOA could show an easement on the title, which they couldn't, it was trespassing. I offered to lease the lake back to the HOA for $10,000 a month. Unsurprisingly, they declined. Eventually, the board changed leadership. The new president knocked on my door with coffee and asked if we could work something out. We did. I reopened the lake to the community, but only to residents who signed a simple agreement. No loud music, no littering, and no bothering the fishermen on the south dock. That's me. Cynthia, she's still banned. And the $50 fine? It's framed on my wall right above my mounted largemouth bass, the first one I ever caught from my lake.